Schalke 04, a former German powerhouse, a team with European pedigree as well. They were runners-up in the German league as recently as 2017-18. This season, they find themselves in the Bundesliga 2, Germany's second division. That, my friends, calls for a rebuild. And welcome back to the channel. My name is Clayts, and today we've got a first rebuild on the channel because, do you know what? I've been thinking, shall we do one of these videos? Shall we not? I don't really know. They look like a lot of fun. It's basically like a let's play that gets condensed down into one big long episode, one big long video, which is what today's video is going to be. I thought, do you know what? Schalke, they're the perfect team to do it with. They've been relegated to the Bundesliga 2. We've got our own affiliation with Schalke, haven't we? Gary Megson, etc. I just need to say those words, Gary Megson, and I'm sure you will remember. If you didn't watch that, we did a big, long save last year here on YouTube that we can keep this pressure on. We're on our way down the left-hand side now. Badgie into Cuisance. He's already got one. Great ball. We've scored again. It's 3-2. We've turned that around. It's the best game that's ever existed with Schalke. And I had a really good time with that. So we're going to do today's rebuild all about them because they used to be a huge team. They used to be massive. They finished as runners-up as recently as 2017-18 in the Bundesliga. And yet, after those years, they found themselves now in the Bundesliga 2. So before we jump into it, a really quick reminder to subscribe to the channel. If you like this type of content, there will be more of this in the future. We're also doing lots of simulations. We're doing some tactics videos. There's lots going on, really. And if you want to watch more of me, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're also pushing so close now to 10,000 subscribers, which would be honestly a huge milestone for me. So you can help with that by clicking that subscribe button. Also, give this video a like if you do enjoy it and leave me some comments down below. Who should we go and rebuild next if you enjoy it, or any other video ideas? I'm all ears. I want to know what you want to see. So let me know in those comments and let's jump into today's video. Here we are then. We have been appointed as the manager, and let me talk you through how this video is going to work. What I have gone and done is I've gone and played a few seasons, pretty much a full save game as Schalke, and I'm going to talk you through that journey, starting from this point here where we are appointed as the new manager, all the way up until where I decide that actually they have been rebuilt. I'm going to tell you how I've gone and done that. I'm going to show you the transfers we make, some of the changes in terms of tactics and everything. Hopefully it will be insightful. Hopefully it will be enjoyable. And I'm hopefully going to take you along every step of the journey. It starts here then, appointed as the manager. As you can see, let's click through this. This is what you are started with Schalke, who are predicted to win the Bundesliga 2. So that's already a little bit of pressure. The transfer budget you start with is £0. A wage budget of £292,000, playing at the Veltins Arena, which is a big old stadium to be using in the Bundesliga 2. The team, when you first start the game, then looks a little bit like this. They've got Simon Tirod up front, who is a bit of an aging striker, but one that's got a little bit of ability. The midfield of Latza and Poulsen. Uwajan, who can play left back here. You've got a back three that it suggests you play with. One player that's pretty important, Salif Sane. I'll click on him here just so you can see. 6'5", 18 jumping reach, the type of player that can be so important in an FM22 save. And if you played any FM22, you know exactly why, right? Defenders, they score a lot of goals, as you may well see in today's rebuild. That's what the side looks like. Let's click through. I'll probably show you these as well. Win promotion is the expectation. We also need to work towards repairing the club's financial damage, because a big part of this rebuild is the financial problems that the club are in. Let me show you the finances when you first load into the save. There it is, £62 million in the red. It's not looking good. The projection, I mean, it says it's going to improve, but not until 2024. The Bundesliga and the German leagues usually are pretty good for prize money, but you do kind of have to finish quite well and achieve things. If we were to do that with Schalke, we would be able to improve it, but there's a lot going on. The debt, by the way, it's not quite Barcelona levels, but it is £224 million of debt as well. So when you first start off this save, it's not an easy thing to go and do, to actually bring players in to improve the squad. The best 11 looks something like this with this type of setup, I think. Obviously, though, because this is Football Manager, you want to go and get your own men in and you want to go and make some transfers. So our first little stop off on this journey through to rebuild Schalke is going to be at the end of the transfer window. I make some signings. I'm going to show you what I do and what the plan is for the rest of the season. Here we are then on the journey. It is now the 1st of of September, and the transfer window at this stage has just slammed shut, if you like. And as you can see by this screen, we've made a pretty good start to life in the Bundesliga too. Now, at this stage, this isn't saying that Schalke is rebuilt, because as it mentioned before, we are expected to win the league this season. We are top. We've played 5. We've won those games. I'll show you the games here and some of the results. In fact, let me change that to show you who the goal scorers were as well, because there's 1 or 2 new names in here that you're going to see. We started off with a draw with Holstein Kiel. You'll see that Andy Carroll did score the goals here. Bear with me on that one. I'll explain why we've signed Andy Carroll. There's also a few goals from the likes of Rhys Norrington Davies, who's a Welshman who's actually been very good for us. We won 2-1, 4-0, 1-0 and 5-1. A very resounding start to the season, actually. And here you see the system that I said I was going to play and the system that I have ended up playing. Andy Carroll up front here alongside Umar Niasse. On paper, that doesn't look too effective, but we know what FM22 is like, right? Crossing is so OP. Crossing is so effective, and big strikers seem to be the way to go. Andy Carroll is that man. You see him here, 32 years old. I brought him in on a free transfer, and he's been a revelation. I say a revelation. He scored 2 goals in 5 games and been pretty good. Got 1 player of the match. He's quite good. He was one of, I think, about 6 transfers that I made at the end of the window. Let me make sure that this is at the right time. It is indeed. So these were the signings that I did bring in then. Joe Gellert, Andy Carroll, Fabian Geifer, Umar Niasse, Henri Save, Lamine Gassama, Rhys Norrington Davies, Folarin Balogun, and of course Mickey C. If you watched any of the Schalke save before, you know all about Mickey. He's a bit of a hero on the channel. We brought him in on loan. The rest of them were either on loan or they were on a free transfer. We didn't have any money to spend, so all of it was on a very shoestring budget. But I think a few players there that definitely improve the team. The team at the moment then that I've been playing looks a little bit like this. Let me put these in the correct order. And this 4-2-2-2, this very attacking, high intensity, getting crosses into the box type of system seems to be working well so far. The next stop off on this tour then, this rebuild, is going to be at the end of season number 1. This is what we're working with. Let's go and find out how we finished our first season. Okay, here we are then at the end of season number 1. And as you see by this very lovely screen here, we did manage to get ourselves promoted back to the Bundesliga at the first time of asking. We finished after our 34 games on 75 points, a lovely 15 points clear at the top. It ended up being fairly light work. We did a very good job of going through this season. We stuck with the system, the 4-2-2-2 with the 2 midfielders here, Cuisance and Salazar for most of the season. Cuisance, by the way, was a dream in this first season. If you are this type of level of team and you can loan in Cuisance in your saves, I highly recommend it. The reason he's so good, by the way, is because he's got 16 corners. He's got great passing technique, vision, that type of thing as well. Left-footed, he'll take your corners. He will get a boosted rating because of that. He'll get so many assists just because we know how effective near post corners are. The 20 assists, look, in this season in 28 games. He was honestly the reason we got promoted pretty much. We of course did kind of go down the loan route to make sure we got promoted. Most of those players did have to leave after this point, so the next window was always going to be very, very important. I will show you all the players we bring in at that stage too, but I just want to show you a little bit more about this season. A successful first season. As you see the results here, it wasn't perfect. We did go out of the Pokal to Wiesbaden 2-1 here, which is a little bit embarrassing. There were losses sprinkled in with some very emphatic wins as well, like the 6-1 win. That was a friendly, so maybe not a good... That's a friendly, so definitely not a good example. But the 5-0 win against John Regensburg there, they lovely run of form here where we didn't lose in quite a lot of games before we did lose 2 of the last 3. But that was when the league title was already sewn up. Andy Carroll, I'll show you the squad actually to show you some of the performances. Let's just go to average rating. The highest average rating was, of course, Mickey C. He got himself a 7.67 overall. Rhys Norrington Davies, the Welsh left back, very, very good on loan from Sheffield United. Would highly recommend him. Quite well-rounded if you have a look at his profile there. I really do recommend him. He's a good player. Salif Sane ended up on only 4 goals, maybe a little bit low, actually, considering how centre-backs can score. It was actually Malik Tior that got most of the set-piece goals. He ended up on 8 goals for the season. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. Folarin Balogun was the main man. 20 goals in 29. Drexler chipped in with 15. Andy Carroll, the big dog, with 12 goals himself. Severely lacking in pace and physicals by the end of the year. But still, with that 18 jumping reach and he's got 17 heading, he was still a bit of a potent threat. Would still still found him very effective. So well done, Big Andy. There's the rest of the players' stats. If you want to just pause it, have a look through and see how well they did. But I think a very successful first season of the save, taking us back to the Bundesliga. The next thing to do at this point was to go and make some signings to see if we could survive the Bundesliga and really try and push on. Thinking about signings, you probably want to see this too. The overall balance, it's still not very good. We didn't really make any money until after this point. We were still 23 million pounds in debt in terms of balance, and then the debt overall at the club was 233 million. I think that's actually maybe got worse from the start, hasn't it? So money was still going to be really, really tight. The prize money though does start to increase at this point. I will take you till the end of this transfer window to show you who I brought in for the start of the Bundesliga. Okay, here we are then in season 2 at this stage, and just a heads up, we were given about 800k to go and spend on our return to the Bundesliga, but a little bit of wage budget as well. I think about £114,000 wage budget left over, and of course we had a few assets that we could sell. So I'll start with the transfers here. It is the 6th of August, so the transfer window is still open, but this was the end of our business for the transfers of this summer. We sold Kabak, who was out on loan obviously the season before. We also sold Harrit. That was about 15 million we brought in for those two. So it gave us a little bit of money to go and spend. Matondo also went. Mendel also went. And lots of players left on a free. All of those loans that we had the season before as well, most of them did leave as well. Salif Sane was let go on a free transfer too. There was lots then of signings that we did make. I'll show you them here. There's one or two ones in here that you'll think, well, that's a very good signing. One or two of these that was a bit of a gamble that didn't really pay off. I'll talk you through the season as we did with the previous season too. So hopefully you can see which ones were more involved. But the likes of Terem Moffi as a striker for £7 million. He was a big part of this next season. He's excellent. Look, left-footed. When he's played with two strikers, I really like the left-footed, right-footed partnership. He was going to be our left-sided guy. Alongside a few of these guys, we have Pellegrini coming in for £1 million. A big one for this season. Dan Axel Zagadou, brought in on a free transfer from Dortmund. He's going to score goals from set pieces, isn't he? He's the main man from goals from set pieces. One or two others in there to show you as well. Moda on loan. Cherlanov was brought back on another loan as well. Danny Da Costa. Uwajan was brought in permanently. He was pretty good in the first season to get us promoted. Mo Kamara here was brought in to be Zagadou's partner, and he is another excellent defender there, as you can see. This then was the transfer business. I'll just show you it so you can see all of them. This was how I set things up for the season. So before we go and play some games, this is what the side sort of looked like. We had Kolo Muani alongside Moffi up front. Kolo Muani, you see they're 23 years old and French. He's the right-footed striker. Moffi the left-footed one. We had Ocampo on the right hand side with Ali, Cuisance and Tyder in the midfield as the two, hoping that Cuisance can continue the way he started. Look at his average rating from the friendlies here, 9.3. That is outrageous. In behind him then we talked about Zagadou and Kamara, Meyerhofer and Bora as the fullbacks, and then Petrovic as the goalkeeper. I felt very confident. I like this team. I like the way it was set up. I was pretty confident going into our Bundesliga season. The vision was only to avoid relegation, and I was confident that actually I was aiming for top half, and we'll go through that season. I'll show you the results and I will let you know how we've got on, but you just see a few of the vision things in there. I was confident at this stage, and I was really hoping we could really push on. We'd been good in our friendlies. We'd started off with a 4-0 win against Garching in the Pokal. You always play some random German team in the Pokal first round at this stage of the season, and ours was a nice little win. You see the games that we have lined up here. I will go and jump to the end of this season now and tell you how I got on in our second season in the Bundesliga, playing this 4-2-2 with these new signings. I'll see you then. And here you find us then at the end of season number 2 in the save. And this is the side at the end of the season. Still in this 4-2-2, which has served us so well up until this point. And I will show you the league table now, because you've probably already had a little spot of it. 4th in the Bundesliga in our first season back in the Bundesliga. I said I was confident, right? I had every right to be confident as well, because we smashed it. A brilliant season that really does set us up for our 3rd season in charge. You can just see some of the players that are already listed in here. Dan Axel Zagadou, 7 players of the matches awards. Very, very nice indeed. Cuisance, 19 assists. I mean, you expect it. But still, that is outrageous, isn't it? Coming in, first season in the Bundesliga and being the top assist maker. What a guy he is. 4th in the league. I will show you. In fact, let's go back to the tactics because I wanted to show you some of the key performers in this season, in this system that we were playing. This 4-2-2 Samba type system that we're using. Petrovic in goal was very good. The defence then was pretty much this defence here. Danny Da Costa at right back, Bora at left back. In fact, Danny Da Costa did kind of rotate a little bit with Mehrhofer, but I think Danny Da Costa was slightly better. The defensive two of Kamara and Zagadou, outrageously good. The average ratings, look, of 7.54 and 7.14. Dan Axel Zagadou ended up on 14 league goals. I mean, he is a beast in the air. Look how good he turns out. This was a free transfer because he is out of contract at the end of season number 1. If you can sign him, I mean, you should sign him just because of his jumping reach, strength, composure as well. It means he does score the headers. You see that season there, it's 13 league goals, 1 goal in the cup as well, 7.55 average rating. He really did propel us up the league. The midfield two were of course really good. Taider and Cuisance we've talked about. Cuisance ended up on 19 league assists, 21 assists in all competitions, 3 player of the matches, just the 1 goal. He doesn't need to score goals if he's still taking all of those corners and free kicks and whipping the ball in so effectively. Our main man up front was Kolo Muani, who ended up on 20 goals. The 24-year-old developing nicely. Nothing outrageous in terms of his profile, I think you'll see there, right? But just very, very good. Just quick enough that he's good. He's 6'2" as well, so he's decent in the air. He's just well-rounded enough that he doesn't have gaps in his game as a striker. He was effective enough to end up getting 18 league goals alongside who I probably at the start of the season expected to do a little bit better, was Terem Moffi. I say expected to do better. He didn't do badly at all. 13 league goals and 6 assists. He was very good. They were a good foil for each other, these two. But I'm just looking at his profile. I think he's the slightly better player. But you know what? We aren't complaining. 4th in the league. Very, very good. You will see a couple of extra players in here. Salcedo, who is starting at the end of the season. We did bring him in on loan from Inter Milan. If I show you here, there were 3 signings made in January. All loans because money was so tight still. We didn't have any to spend. If you actually look at our net spend here, it was £1 million, which just goes to show, doesn't it? We had the transfer budget of 800k. It's basically that. We did sell 1 more player in January too, which was Giefer. But we brought in Christopher Scott on loan, Scalvini on loan, and Eddie Salcedo on loan. He was very, very important for us as this inverted winger on the left-hand side. Did a good job for us. 18 appearances, 6 goals. Not to be scoffed at. 1 or 2 of the other performers there, I said when we were looking at the signings, right? I'll show you the stats at the end of the season so you can see how much of an impact they had. You will see them there. I'll show you the schedule as well to see some of our results. If you want to pause and have a look at how we got on against different teams, 1 or 2 things to point out, like good wins against Leipzig. I mean, the Bayern Munich games sometimes didn't go very well. We lost 5-1. That was the first time we played them, I think. When did we play them again? Oh, yeah, we beat them in the last game of the season. I remember now. It was a big win. Dan Axel Zagadou got 2 goals in that one. But sometimes we were blown out of the water a little bit. We lost to Leipzig there. We lost to Bayern there. We lost to Bayer Leverkusen 5-1. Because we were quite attacking and enterprising in this system, in this 4-2-2, every now and then when the teams we played against were really good, we were kind of shown how it's done a bit. But overall, 4th in the Bundesliga, I think that's very, very good. What we're going to do now is, instead of jumping to the end of the transfer window in season number 3, I'm going to just jump to the start of season 3 so that I can show you the finances and some of the club vision and expectations. Having finished now 4th, and, we're trying to rebuild Schalke. What do they think? What do they want us to do? So we're going to jump forward just a little bit further now so I can show you those things. When the season ticks over from one season to the next. We're going to go to there. Okay, here we are then at the it's 20th of August. So we're a little bit through the transfer window at this stage into season number 3. But I just wanted to show you this one because it really sums up the way that we are rebuilding the club. The finances being the keyest of indicators on that one. If I click the finances tab here, you see that all of a sudden, after being in debt for pretty much all of this save so far, suddenly we are up to £28 million in the black. We are no longer in debt, and that's only changed, look, very, very recently. We've still got the massive net debt overall, but having a bit of money here meant that we do actually have a little bit of transfer budget to go and spend this window. I'll show you how much we end up spending because, we've got 700k still to spend here and a bit of wage budget still, but we end up spending a little bit more than that. I will show you the transfers, but I did just want to stop you at this point because this was the point that I thought, do you know what? We've got money. we should be able to build from here. Each season, as long as we do okay, we should be able to build from this point. I'll show you the club vision as well. We finished 4th last year, right? They wanted us to finish mid-table, which I felt like was pretty good. That seems to be, well, we shouldn't struggle too much with that, should we? We are also in the Champions League, where they said only, you just need to be competitive. So not too much in terms of, not too much expectation really attached to that either. There are the club culture things. Some of these have changed a little bit. Set pieces. I love how that's what part of the club culture. Make the most of set pieces. I was like, yep, I will happily do that. Near post corners. That's fine. Do not worry about it. What we will do next is jump to the end of this window so I can show you who we've signed. And I'm going to show you how we're going to set up for this next season. Okay, so we rejoin the save now on the 2nd of September, a couple of days after the window has closed then, in this 3rd season in charge of Schalke. You see here at this point, we've made a very good start to the season, an incredibly good start to the season, actually. A 4-1 win against Cologne and a 5-1 win against Hertha Berlin. Sets us up very nicely, doesn't it, for the rest of this season. And we finished 4th last year. I was kind of thinking, like, do you know what, if we finish 4th again this year, that should give us a real sound footing to maybe get more money, maybe push on again. Can we win the Bundesliga? There was always that little bit of thing in the back of my mind thinking, do you know what, can we win it this year? And I don't know if I believed it, but there was still a little part of me that was thinking, I think we can, you know, if we set ourselves up, if we get into a tactic that really works, I think we can. And I want to show you that tactic now. Before we look at the tactic, though, let me show you who we've brought in, because I was thinking of this new tactic as I brought in these players, and it all kind of melds together, if you like. That was very Brent doing that, wasn't it? I will show you then who we did bring in this window. We spent 87 million pounds. We were actually given a bit of a budget and we spent it. Oh, we spent it. 87 million pounds spent. We did raise 30 million or so because we sold the likes of Tyder and Kolo Muani, who was excellent for us last year, did go to Lille, but I felt like we've replaced him well enough, and you'll see those. We also sold Bora and May and Da Costa. Uwajan, who's been here for a very long time now, all of the season so far. Meerhofer did go. He was also a very good player for us during the time he was at the club. One or two others too. But 87 million pounds sold. And the biggest of those signings was Paul Onuachu. If you've not seen Paul Onuachu, I mean, be excited. Have a look at him, and you'll see why we set up in the way that we did set up, and with this new tactic. We signed him, and honestly, he just looks so good, doesn't he? He's got this 20 jumping reach. He's 6'7". He's very well rounded generally, as well as the fact that he's an absolute monster as well at 6'7". Look at the way he's got the 14 teamwork and 16 bravery, 14 heading, 14 finishing with the good anticipation and composure and decisions. I knew he was going to score goals. And I mean, in the first 2 games, he's got 4 goals in his first 2 games at this point. It made me think about how we were going to change our system too. I'll show you some of the other players we brought into. Sebastiano Esposito is an excellent player. 10 million. I felt like that was a bit of a snip as well. Mickey C joined on a permanent deal at this point. Ahmed Hozic from Bayern. What a centre-back to bring in. 6'5". Talking about getting those big centre-backs in. What a guy to bring in there. Wagaway, a brilliant right wing-back rather than a right-back. Yankov, Sarr, excellent as a libero. Look out for that as well. Arocco, Conte, Adam Eder, Marmadashvili, Valerie Stiepermann, Reece Williams on a loan. I mean, just because it's Reece Williams. Renokia, Broha, and Aidin were all brought in on loans. 87 million pounds spent. Let me show you the tactic that I set us up in for this season. And I love it. I love it so much. It is this. It's the FM22 spanner. If you've watched any of my content in FM21, if you've watched any of the showdowns and things we've taken part in, I play a spanner system because I think it's so cool. This year, you can even use a wide centre-back. So I talked about the players we brought in. Ahmed Hozic was one of them. Onuachu up front. Look at this. We've got the left footer on the left. We've got the right footer on the right in Esposito. Onuachu through the middle as that target forward. The 2 midfielders, Cuisance and Yankov. Yankov, a new signing as well this year. Lyko Giannis. I love Lyko Giannis. Again, I had him in a showdown. He was just so good. He's just very well rounded. He's 6'3" as well, which I think, you know, tall players, I really like them. Wagaway up right wing back. I talked about how he's a right wing back rather than a right back. We're going to play with wing backs. And then this Malang Sarr as the libero, using a libero. I mean, it's just fun in the engine, isn't it? That is a really fun system generally. And I really was confident that it was going to work. You know, I talked about that voice in the back of my head that said, can we go and do really well this year? When I saw the players that I'd managed to get all together, I was thinking, do you know what? We might be able to do this. And the next sort of checkpoint is going to be in January. And I'm going to show you how we've got on in the first half of the season before we then go and find out how we do in the second half of the season. I will see you in January where we find out how this team is doing midway through the season. So here we are in January, and I'll show you the update then. We are second in the league at this stage. 20 matches played, 4 points behind Bayern. You know how I always say Bayern are ridiculous. The most recent game at this stage was against Bayern, and we beat them 3-2 with this system that we are playing, with this spanner that we're calling it. Moffi on the left, Esposito on the right, Onuachu through the middle. I mean, it's pretty much the same team I showed you. I think that is the exact same team that I showed you at the start of the season, isn't it? And you see how effective it can be, beating the likes of Bayern, taking us to second place in the league. And the January window has just closed. I wanted to stop it here as well because I want to show you some of the signings that we did make in January as well. One signing made, and it was Joaquin Piqueres, and he's from Palmeiras, a 25-year-old, going to be also very important at left wing back for the rest of this season. But I wanted to stop here mainly because at this stage I was believing. I was definitely believing. Look at some of the results in here. We were blowing away teams. We had a bad spell here, actually, where we lost 3 in a row, but we bounced back, blowing teams away and doing okay. We did. This was the group, right? We went through in the Champions League as well. Our group looked like this. It included Zeb. Let me show you our group in the Champions League, back in the Champions League, of course, as well. We had Atletico Madrid and Juventus in our group, and we did manage to qualify on 9 points. 3 wins, beating Atletico home and away, who won the group. Sporting at home as well, losing the other 3, but sneaking through ahead of Zebra or Juventus. We go through. We've drawn PSG in the next round, which is a little bit annoying. And I will let you know how the rest of this season goes with this brilliant system that we're using. I'll show you it here. I mean, just look at some of the goals that are being scored. I talked about Onuachu, right? Onuachu's got 24 in 28 games in all competitions at this stage. He's got 17 Bundesliga goals in 20 appearances. This is why we built this system all the way around him. You see these ridiculous UFO-like lines that are developing between our players. You've also got Mickey C, who is still doing the absolute business. 16 assists in 19 at this stage. He's got 23 in 26 all competitions. The whole sort of system is built around those 2 players, really. And at this point, it's going very successfully. And you know that little voice I was talking about? It's absolutely shouting it now, saying, you can win this. You can win this. I will see you at the end of season 3. Okay, here we are then at the end of season number 3. And there you see our final finish in the league. I know I kind of built up the fact that we might have won it, but really it was a little bit beyond us. We finished 4th in the league in season number 3. And do you know what? I really do feel like this is kind of us rebuilt as a club. I know that we didn't go win the Bundesliga, but I feel like that would have been a little bit unrealistic anyway. If you're going to rebuild Schalke, you want them to be a force. You want them to be one of the top teams in Germany. And I really feel like we are at this stage. We finished 4th in the league on 67 points. Bayern, Borussia Dortmund and Leipzig above us. And we even did manage to make the Champions League semi-finals. PSG knocked out. Get out of my way. We knocked them out. What was it overall on penalties? We won 1-0 in the first game, lost 4-3 in the second, knocked them out on penalties. Esposito got a hat-trick in that game, by the way. We then drew Chelsea, knocked them out of the Champions League. We beat them 5-4 in the first game and then drew 2-2 in the second game. And then we played Real Madrid in the semi-finals. We almost made the Champions League final. Semi-final, though, I think is the best ever finish Schalke ever got in a Champions League. So if we're talking about rebuilding a team, I really feel like we've rebuilt them here. I'll show you the team then as it stands now after this season. It looks like this. Some absolutely brilliant performances from some of these players. Paul Onuachu, 37 goals in 48. Terran Moffi, 25 in 44. Esposito, 20 in 38. What a strike force that is. Let me just also get, I mean, there's a few players missing here. Cuisance is injured. Cuisance ended up on the season getting 20 assists, 31 assists in all competitions, a 7.72. The club is well and truly back where it used to be. Maybe even better than where it used to be. If I show you the finances, there's £99 million now in the bank. The projection says it's only going to go up as well, 182 in the future. I told you prize money is so important. If you get to the Champions League, you're going to be getting so much in terms of prize money as well. The overall debt is still there, but I mean, it's almost half of what it used to be, 135 million pounds in terms of debt. And if we just take a quick little peek at some of the favoured personnel and icons and stuff, I don't think we've got any icons, but we've got 1 or 2 new favoured personnel at the club as well. I'm on there, which is quite nice. You've got Mickey C has made it on there, Esposito, and I think that's all of it out of our players. I'm very surprised, by the way, Paul Onuachu, why he's not on there. But I mean, I feel like this is a great place to stop. If you want me to do more, you're going to have to get that down in the comments below. Maybe we continue this save and do another video like this where we go through, maybe do 3 more seasons. If you like this sort of format as well, that's slightly longer in terms of how we present the videos. It's a bit like a Let's Play, isn't it? Brought down into just one long video. If you like this format, you're going to need to let me know. Maybe we do a rebuild of a different team. Maybe we continue our Schalke rebuild, because then at least we've got Schalke videos on the channel, which it feels weird if we don't have Schalke videos on the channel, doesn't it? But anyway, that's where we will leave it today. I'm going to leave it, I think, on the profile of Paul Onuachu because he's an absolute hero. I feel like he's the Yusuf Badji of FM22 for us. That, though, I think, is where we will leave it for today. Thank you so much for watching this. As I mentioned, if you've enjoyed it, make sure you leave me those comments down below. Let me know that. Also, subscribe to the channel. We are so close to those 10,000 subscribers. 10K would be amazing to get to. So make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed this. Ready for new videos to come out. Make sure you turn the bell on for notifications, that type of stuff. Also, give the video a like. And as I mentioned, get those comments down below. Thank you for watching, though. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Goodbye. How good is Paul Onuachu? What a guy.